Good morning, security gang. Happy Monday, and welcome back to the CyberHub Podcast, episode 996. Next Monday will be episode 1000. And it's got me really reflecting this Monday morning on the fact that I'm going to hit quad digits next week doing the show. And we've gone through a lot together, a lot of breaches, vulnerabilities, good times, bad times. But all in all, it's been an unbelievable ride. So this Monday morning, we're going to get right into cybersecurity news because, oh my, how many stories we've had. We tried to bring it down. We couldn't. So hope everyone had a great weekend. I hope you're buckled in, ready for a very, very busy week for cybersecurity practitioners. A lot happening over the weekend, a lot of incidents, a lot of vulnerabilities, a lot of things we need to pay attention to. Look at our risk register. Look at how our program is shaping up in specific areas in order to determine just exactly how strong our posture is as we head into the most like treacherous, kind of like really bad waters, the fourth quarter. So without further ado, join me for a coffee cup cheers this morning. Got my double espresso. So perfect. Coffee cup cheers, y'all. I love a good cup of coffee. Okay, we're going to get right into these guys, Sotheby's. So Sotheby's, for those who don't know, is a huge auction house. Well, now they're confirming the theft of highly sensitive client data. The auction house says that intrusions was discovered on July 24th. It led to the theft of files, names, social security numbers, and even financial account data. The firm is notifying affected individuals and offering credit monitoring, even if the total count is small. The profile is high value. These are, again, high value customers there. So some of what we could expect from a breach like this, if you were a victim or know someone who was: VIP fraud risk, 100%. Some wire transfer social engineering against wealthy staff, and multi-jurisdictional data privacy scrutiny is likely on the heels for this auction house. Again, if one of your executives buys from the auction house, you may want to consider just strengthening the controls around purchases, transfers, and so forth from the organization. That'll all really, really help there. And again, as we kind of look at this, significant. Okay, we move to American Airlines subsidiary. Now, you couldn't get me on an American Airlines flight to save your life. I'm a Delta guy through and through. Also, every time I've flown American, I've somehow ended up worse than I was before I came on that flight. Well, their subsidiary Envoy Air is caught in the Oracle e-business suite campaign. Clopper Fin 11 listed American Airlines, but reporting indicates an Oracle EBS instance used by Envoy Air was the one that was hit. Envoy says customers or other sensitive data wasn't compromised, but some limited business information and commercial contacts may be. The Oracle campaign involved both previously patched bugs and a recent zero-day, that's CVE 2025-61882, with a separate exposure bug 61884. Business impact is for this one could have some third-party ERP exposure. You're looking at them extorting and follow-on phishing of suppliers. So you want to patch this up ASAP, remove EBS from direct internet if you can, and add WAF rules to runtime UI configurator and rotate any reference services, accounts, or secrets there. That'll help you kind of gain some strength on this specific incident. Volkswagen in the crosshairs, listed by 8base after an alleged ransomware attack there. So we'll see what happens with these guys here. Volkswagen Group has issued a statement addressing claims by the ransomware group 8base after an alleged ransomware or data theft. They claim the sensitive VW information here. The VW acknowledges an assessment is underway. Auto majors are juicy because of the ITPLM plant networks and dealer portals interconnect. So we saw that with Jaguar and Land Rover. It kind of all came together. Dealerships shut down their doors. Manufacturing went down. There's sub-manufacturers all went down. And so you have significant significant challenges there. Now, this isn't the impact here. Apparently, this is primarily data. 8base has been around since 2023. And so, is this a data breach? We'll find out. Again, Volkswagen hasn't confirmed it yet. They're saying we're checking to ensure that to double check the claims. And a lot of times what they'll do is they may breach like a really small data set, and then they use the name in order to gain notoriety and be on a show like mine. So well done, folks. Well done. Our job is to report, your job's to do, and apparently someone in the middle of there. And again, Volkswagen is no short. I mean, they own Audi, Porsche, Bentley, Lamborghini, Skoda. If you've never driven a Skoda, it's like driving a tank. Fiat, which is kind of like a Fiat, and Copra, all are brands owned by Volkswagen. So we'll see there what's happening. All right, let's move to another big story here, folks. Prosper is significant here. Give me just a second here. Let's pull this one back up. There we go. Again, Monday morning, folks. So Prosper breach is now impacting 17.6 million accounts. The stolen data spans names, addresses, dates of birth, emails, social security numbers, and government IDs tied to the borrower/investors. You're looking at identity theft and fraud spikes attributed to a breach like this one. Again, this is peer-to-peer. So the information there is significant. You can check out Have I Been Pawned for more information. Spikes, regulatory, class action exposure. There's a lot here that is going to take place, and you want to tighten ship around identities. Again, MFA is critical. Whenever you're compromised as part of the breach, rotating your passwords using a password manager goes a really long way to make sure you have everything tightened there. All right, folks. We got to pay some bills this Monday morning. Here's a message from our friends at ThreatLocker. Do zero-day exploits and supply chain attacks keep you up at night? Worry no more. You can harden your security with our friends at ThreatLocker. Imagine taking a proactive, deny-by-default approach to cybersecurity, blocking every action, process, and user unless specifically authorized by your team. ThreatLocker helps you do this and provides a full audit of every action allowed or blocked for risk management and compliance. Onboarding and operation is fully supported by their US-based support team. Stop the exploitation of trusted applications within your organization to keep you running efficiently and secure, protected from ransomware. Worldwide, companies like JetBlue trust ThreatLocker to secure their data and keep their business operations flying high. To learn more about how ThreatLocker can mitigate unknown threats and ensure compliance for your organization, visit threatlocker.com/cyberhub. That's threatlocker.com/cyberhub. Okay, we continue this morning's show, and if you're a ConnectWise shop, meaning you're an MSP, MSSP, or a very large enterprise, you may want to take a look at this one. ConnectWise Automate Bugs is enabling an attacker in the middle fake update pushes here. So this one is a flaw set to include CVE 2025-1149 or 3, and it would allow adversaries to impersonate an automate server and push malicious updates to agents. The patches are out, so you want to make sure you get this done. Again, this is a one-to-many type of malware distribution across MSP fleets, so you could look at rapid ransomware propagation. You want to update, automate, enforce signed update verification, rotate the automate creds and certs, hunt for anomalous agent updates events, and unsigned payload executions. All of those will help you create some resiliency in this case. And again, if you're an MSP, this is something significant. We move to our friends over at Microsoft, shipping a fix for the highest severity ASP.NET core flaw to date. This one coming from Redmond, issuing an emergency fix across ASP.NET Core and Visual Studio, including the Kestrel packages. This one is significant because of the risk of takeover or data exposure on public APIs and sites. You want to patch the supported .NET VS versions noted by Microsoft. You may want to rebuild your containers and images in case you've seen any sort of activity there, any sort of anomalous activity in those containers or images. You want to deploy WAF rules for abnormal request patterns and watch for authentication sessions canaries post patch to make sure you're all set there. Continuing with Microsoft, because they're just on a roll this Monday morning. They're revoking 200 and plus signing certificates to disrupt the Riceta pre-ransomware stage and ransomware group. Threat actors are abusing legit-looking certs to sign fake Teams installers that drop the Oyster backdoor ahead of Riceta. Users trust in signed installers and broaden attack surface. So the Trust Store update is significant here. You want to import updated trust lists, block legacy untrusted publishers into your WDAC or your app locker, hunt for Teams named installers and Oyster indicators. You'll see all of that available on our website at cyberhubpodcast.com. We move to TikTok. Yep, it's now American owned, but it still has issues. So TikTok clickfist lures are still pushing out info stealers, the short video touting free activations route users through verification pages. And when they do that, they download stealers like Viter, Steal C variants. So if you do have employees with company devices that are using TikTok, why? One, you should block TikTok on company devices altogether. I know it's now US owned, but still, until it actually earns the trust, we shouldn't give it there. So you want to make sure you do that. You want to take a look at credential and session theft. And again, MFA helps harden those areas, and you could be victims of business email compromise. So block known clickfix infrastructure, filter risky file types from social referrers, and coach users on activation verification scams. Part of your, again, cyber awareness training this Cyber Awareness Month has 11 days left before we do that. So we'll get there. All right. We move to China, where China is now accusing the U.S. of hacking the National Time Center. According to the Chinese, the National Time Center alleged a U.S. cyber attack. Attribution is disputed aside from timing claims are often used for information operations. So again, the geopolitical noise between the U.S. and China continues to increase with the tariff war kind of taking place there, with President Trump canceling, then the meeting coming back as China kind of bent the knee when Trump canceled the meeting in Korea with Xi Jinping, the dictator in China. So you want to take a look at some of this stuff because it could lead to compliance posture changes for China-linked partners and some retaliatory narratives targeting some Western brands. So you want to make sure you keep an eye on that. Also, refresh your geo-risk playbook and tie in communications for guidance for staff operating in and within China if that's part of your company's business. Track spear phishing tied to the story, as that could be a way in for the Chinese to get a whole lot more information. So something to keep in mind there. We continue and go back to our friends over at Microsoft, who are now reporting saying that state groups are scaling AI phishing, deepfakes, and operational support in the U.S. As the U.S. remains the prime target. They're now using AI to do more convincing lures, faster campaign iterations, and reputational manipulation. So they're not using AI as necessarily AI isn't staging the threat, but they're using AI to increase the propensity of the threats because AI is generating stuff at a much, much quicker rate than any human ever could. And so they're able to do, instead of if they did 5 attacks a week, I'm giving that as an example, to do a lot more. They're doing 500 attacks a week with AI. So our speed, our mitigation, our time to respond is all really, really significant here, folks. Extremely. So keep that in mind as you pay attention to stories like this one, because they do go through. Europol on Friday says they disrupted a SIM farm used for OTP interceptions, phishing, and even investment fraud. Arrests and infrastructure seizures were done across multiple countries. The operation was dubbed SIM Cartel and saw 26 searches carried out, resulting in the arrest of 7 suspects and the seizure of 1,200 SIM boxes containing more than 40,000 active SIM cards. 5 of those detained are Latvian nationals. An additional 5 servers were dismantled and 2 websites advertising the service were taken over on October 10th to display a seizure banner. All in all, 4 luxury vehicles were confiscated, 431,000 euros, that's nearly $500,000 in suspect bank accounts, and 266,000 euros, $310,000 in their cryptocurrency accounts were frozen. So again, this is a multi-country scam taking place in Europe, and Europol putting a stop to it. And finally, we finish with NSO. A U.S. judge has granted injunction relief, barring NSO from using WhatsApp, but cut the monetary damages. The ruling underscore court's willingness to curb spyware operations and not really hold them accountable. So they had $167 million punitive damage. They'll now pay $4 million all in all, but apparently they can't use WhatsApp. Now, how are you going to enforce that? That remains to be seen, because you can't. So a lot here. So again, something to keep in mind. This NSO WhatsApp story has been around for quite some time. It continues to evolve, twists and turns, because it's precedented. And once it becomes a precedent, we all understand what it means there. That's it for our show this morning, folks. Again, when you look at everything we're seeing here, you're obviously understanding that the speed of what we're dealing with as practitioner is increasing. Our adversaries are using more. We're using more. So we have to get it in there. So if you're an MSP, please get your ConnectWise Automate taken care of ASAP. I'd love to not have to report anything there. I'm the only person who does a news show who would love nothing more than to not have to cover a lot of breaches. So please make sure you get that done. And again, your software supply chain is really, really critically important. And then again, FIDO2, MFA, those standards are really, really critical. And if you're having a hard time with MFA, Roger Grimes has a great book called Hacking MFA. It's available on Amazon. I suggest you get it, have it in your office, share it with your team. It really goes a long way into properly implementing MFA. That's it for our show today. We'll be back tomorrow at 9 a.m. Eastern live with all the latest. Until then, have a great rest of your day. Have a great week. And most importantly, y'all, make sure to subscribe, follow, share, like, comment, and stay cyber safe.
We love feedback, so make sure to connect with us on social media and subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcast listening platform.